CFTO TV is your ticket to Blue Jays baseball. Catch all the action as the Jays slide into home base. Right here on CFTO TV. The following is a Bayton Broadcasting special sports presentation.
Yesterday afternoon, Juan Guzman starting for the Blue Jays, looking for a 12th win, but it was not to be. Guzman was tagged for 3 runs, including this by Eric Fox, and a 3-1 loss. Last night, Baltimore mounted a 5-run comeback in the 7th inning, but lost to Minnesota 6-5. So going into today's game, the Blue Jays still enjoy a 4-game lead. Labatt, Blue Jays baseball on ONT. From the fabulous Skydome in Toronto, it's the final game of this 4-game series between the Oakland A's and Toronto Blue Jays, and yes, sir, how about those Blue Jays? They still have the best record in all of baseball. Now let's go to Don Chevrier and Tommy Hutton.
And that record will be 54 wins if they win this game at the All-Star break, and that is the entire win total for the first-year Blue Jays of 1977. Yes, they have come a long way. Obvious reasons, Tommy, the Alomars, the Winfields, the Carters, the Whites, but beyond the headliners, there's some other major contributions, too.
You look at those not so obvious. Candy Maldonado, who fought to make the ball club in spring training, has come through with a lot of key base hits in the first half. Manny Lee has been a flawless fielder at shortstop, and he has almost as many RBIs as the first half of last season, almost as many as all season. And also Pat Henkin, who's 5-0 in spring training. You didn't even figure on Pat Henkin, and he's been perfect on the mound.
And he starts today. We take you down to the All-Star break with the windup of the series. Stay with us on Labatt Blue Jays baseball on ONT.
Welcome back to the Skydome in Toronto for the final game of this 4-game series with the Oakland A's. And if those Blue Jays win today, they will set another franchise record with 54 victories by the All-Star break. And despite all that success, we haven't heard too many accolades for manager Cito Gaston. In fact, quite the opposite. Do the criticisms bother Cito?
Well, sometimes they do, Fergie, especially when they come from people that I feel like don't know anything about this game or don't know the circumstances, why I did certain things. But, you know, as a manager, they're always going to criticize you, and I don't let it bother me too long. You know, I think about it for a while and then move on to something else.
The other side of the story, I can remember when Jimmy Williams managed this ball club for just over 3 years. The players didn't enjoy playing for him. They complained, not publicly, but privately. In fact, Williams brought an air of tension to the clubhouse and dugout that the players really had a tough time tolerating. With Gaston, it's a different story.
I think Cito's done a tremendous job up here since he's taken over. I think all the players respect him. I know I do. If you can't play for Cito, you can't play for anybody. He's a player's manager, and he's so easygoing. He's got few rules, and like I said, if you can't play for him, you can't play for anybody.
And what about Cito? What kind of a job does he think he's done?
Well, I think I've done a pretty good job, Fergie. I think there's some games I like to go back and do them over, and I think we all make mistakes, but overall, I think if you just look at the record and what this team has done, I've done a good job. I think what everyone's disappointed about, as well as I am, is that we have not had the opportunity to get into the World Series, and I think you have to look at the circumstances and things that happen over the course of the playoffs, and we've always had guys that come up hurt. I like to have a healthy club going into the playoff and finish the playoffs.
I think the only position that fans think they can play for sure is that of manager, and a lot of critics aren't happy with a 4-game lead. But let me say this about this year's edition of the Blue Jays. They are on a pace to win 100 ball games, and that would be another franchise record. You're watching Labatt Blue Jays baseball on ONT.
This is Henkin's third major league start this afternoon. He'll work to Eric Fox, who homered yesterday in his first major league hit. Right fielder Jerry Brown, he's been everywhere of late for the A's. Carney Lansford at third base. DHing is the veteran Harold Bain. The home run king, Mark McGuire's at first base. The catcher's Terry Steinbach. Willie Wilson back in center field. Mike Bordick at second base, and the switch-hitting shortstop Walter Weiss hits ninth. Pat Henkin picks it up for Todd Stottlemyre on the start today.
Pat, in your last outing against Seattle, you went 7, got a no decision, What do you feel you have to do better here this afternoon?
Shoot, overall, I just have to work on my breaking ball, get my curveball over, and, you know, hopefully we can score some more runs and see what happens. I mean, you know, I was fortunate that I didn't get the loss, really. The guy that I faced pitched a great game, and we made a great comeback.
The Blue Jays indeed fortunate to have Henkin with Steve back in the bullpen, Stottlemyre on the injured list. Best prospect at the AAA level or better that they have coming into the starting rotation. He works to Eric Fox. That's ball one.
And I think the key in continuing on our unknown for the first half is the fact that Pat Henkin was slated to be at AAA most of the year. Came up, did a fine job, and has found his way into the starting rotation.
And a little low. That is 2-0. Calling balls and strikes is Al Clark this afternoon. Fox just had one hit. It was for the home run yesterday. He's gone 0 for 9 until that moment. Nope, that didn't quite make it either, says Al Clark, who's joined by Larry Barnett, Greg Kosk, and Dale Ford. Henkin right now wondering where the strike zone might be. It's not low, and it certainly isn't inside by a hair.
You heard Pat talk about getting the curveball over. Right now he's trying to get his fastball over and hasn't been able to do that.
Walks him on 4 pitches.
Defensively for the Jays this afternoon, a couple of changes. Candy Maldonado will be in left field. Derek Bell starts in center field with Devon White getting a semi-rest as the DH. Joe Carter in right. Kent Lee, Alomar, and Olerud around the infield with Pat Borders doing the catching.
Next up is Jerry Brown. He's been all over the Skydome in this series. Twice at third base, in left field. He's in right field today. Brings a 260 average in, the switch hitter. Born on the Virgin Islands.
Today, some surprises for the Oakland A's the first half of the season have to be guys like Jerry Brown, the way Mike Wardick has performed with his average over 300. So Tony La Russa, as we've talked about, has really shuffled his lineup many times due to all the injuries they've had.
Here's a strike as Henkin endeavors to get on track.
Well, you like to get that first one out of the way. And Pat finally finds the outside corner with that fastball, which is, by the way, clocked in the 93, 94 mile-an-hour range.
I've seen pitches up in that area not called a strike, so we'll have to figure out what Al Clark is up to this afternoon. Jerry Brown in his 7th major league season. It doesn't sacrifice bunts last year. He shows that. Borders gets at it quickly. Quick toss. They almost got him, but Fox is back to first.
Good quick heads-up play by Pat Borders after he mishandled the pitch. He was blocked out a little bit by Jerry Brown. He saw that Fox had gotten a little too far off. So he came up with that sharp throw. Sometimes when a catcher does that with the runner as far off as Fox was, when he makes that quick step to go back to the bag, he could slip on the turf. Fortunately for Fox, he didn't slip.
Time is given.
Very deliberate. You know, many times we'll see a pitcher face the Jays who the Jays have never seen before. Here's a situation reversed. Pat Henkin facing a ball club that has never seen him pitch. And how many times do Jays fans remember when that unknown pitcher has come out and pitched a good game against their ball club? So right now, Pat, an unknown to the Oakland lineup, hopes he can have that same success.
And also pitchers who had struggled the last time the Jays had seen them. For example, Rich DeLucia with Seattle came back and pitched a tremendous game against the Blue Jays here last week. Now the 1-1 with a runner going. Fox will continue on to third base. They started him. It paid off as Brown singles to right.
Hey, Jerry Brown with his 5th hit in the series. He has really filled the role for La Russa. Had the big hole with the runner going, with Fox on the move. You can see who's covering, though. Robbie Alomar holds pat with Manny Lee covering the bag, but still the hole open with John Olerud holding Fox on, and Jerry Brown found that hole.
Now the 35-year-old veteran third baseman, Carney Lansford. His 261 average is as low as that has been since the middle of April. 7 for 37 on the current road trip is Lansford. It's ball 1.
You get the feeling that Pat Henkin just hasn't settled in out there yet because of the way he's working. His pace is very slow. We mentioned that with pitchers when they get out to start the first inning. When that pace is slow, it usually means that they don't have a feel yet.
The man he is starting for, Todd Stottlemyre, today, was out throwing with an audience pre-game. Al Widmar, other Blue Jay executives looking him over. They will reassess Todd at the All-Star break, and hopefully, if all goes well with that sore knee, get him back into the rotation.
Todd felt great. He threw for on and off for about 45 minutes. Figured he threw over 75 pitches in a simulated type game with hitters stepping in. Had a knee brace. Figured, though, if he came back and started or went to the bullpen, he probably wouldn't use the brace.
And get a fastball strike. 2-1 to Lansford.
Lansford, in this situation with Ricky Henderson out of the lineup in the number 3 spot, he just misses a fastball there. But Lansford, an excellent number 2 hitter because he's always taken advantage of that hole on the right side. He's up there in this situation with that hole open. Runners at first and third.
Another swinging strike. Henkin battles back even at 2-2.
Good pitch, finds the outside corner. By that swing, Carney was looking for something on the inner part of the plate because it really looked like he chased a pitch that was bad.
First and third. Lansford lays off that to run a total of 3-2.
Now, with Rene Latchman peering in for La Russa's sign, gives the sign to Jerry Brown, and it's probably the run sign. 3-2, nobody out. I'm sure Brown, with his speed, will take off on the pitch. We also have a guy up there who rarely strikes out, Carney Lansford.
He'll take his walk to Locum. 2 walks and a single, and Henkin in hot water.
You know, one more note on Todd Stottlemyre. Galen Cisco, Cito were also out watching the performance early this morning. Todd also said that he will take tomorrow, not throw. He'll head home to Washington and join the ball club in Seattle. Then he'll play catch a couple of days. He said Tuesday and Wednesday he'll probably play catch while he's at home. And he was very, very upbeat after his performance this morning.
This is Harold Baines, the cleanup hitter. First quarters wants a word with Henkin. Baines has upped his average from 217 to 249 in the last 15 games. 15 runs batted in on that span, so he has to be reckoned with here. That's low, ball 1.
The only light for Pat Henkin right here is that Baines, if he can get him to hit the ball on the ground, can hit into a double play. Does not run well. Same holds true of Mark McGuire, who's on deck, but there are also a couple of very dangerous hitters, too.
Strike 1. He's a good low ball hitter. He almost never will swing at a pitch above his wrists unless the A's need a fly ball.
Well, he's in a situation with the bases loaded. He's seen the wildness of Pat Henkin, where he can really set and wait for a good pitch. So he laid off that pitch on the corner.
Gets that one sharply. Lee up with it. The flip to Alomar, and they get the double. Oh! Marvelous defense.
Just watch it. We talked about it early. The steady play of Manny Lee. Once you get it to Robbie, the jump pass throw right there. Wow.
Well, that takes care of a big part of the problem. As you said, Baines, with his knee problems, doesn't run all that well. But a run does score. Fox brings it in from third. 1-0 Oakland. Mark McGuire at the plate now. Strike one. That might have just rejuvenated the call and the double play. Hankin a little bit.
If that didn't, Pat hasn't woken up yet. He's still having some problems. Here comes Galen. Something maybe that Galen Cisco has picked up in watching Pat work here in this first inning.
You know, it's amazing how certain hitters will hit an entire staff well, or it'll go the other way. Mark McGuire has had it go the other way. The last 2 seasons, he is just 7 for 56 against all Toronto pitching. He didn't get a break here either on the first offering from Pat Hankin.
And that's 7 for 56, a 125 average. Off the plate, you can see McGuire backing away. He's saying, Al Clark, wait a minute. I'm an all-star. I'm going to San Diego. That's supposed to be ball 1.
He launches that to left. In the corner, against the wall. Maldonado reaches in and comes up empty. Great try by Candy Maldonado in that tight corner in left field.
Once you get down into that corner as a left fielder or right fielder, you see Candy take that quick peek. He wants to know exactly where he is. Timed it well, but between the fans and that ball kind of curling into the seats, he had no chance, but a good effort by Maldonado.
Sorry, sir, the seat's taken. Almost a first-row spectator. Now the 0-2 to McGuire. Bounced up. Good block by Borders with Brown at third.
Sacrificed the body on that pitch there. Pat Borders knows that there's a runner at third. He said, I'm not going to let Jerry Brown get in here and score, and he just gets down.
You wonder how much Borders has left to sacrifice. Slams that down the line in third. That'll score Brown. 2-0. RBI double as he's on his way to second. 2-0 for the Athletics. That is McGuire's 68th run batted in.
Just to show you how perfect you have to be in the major leagues as a pitcher, especially pitching to an all-star performer. See the target? Pat Borders wants the fastball up, but Pat Henkin gets it in the right location, but down. Not quite up where he wanted to get under the arms of McGuire. By getting it down, McGuire is able to extend a little faster and hit the ball hard and keep it in fair territory.
Another dangerous hitter is next for him, the catcher, Terry Steinbach. He's the top road hitter on the A's, 317. 3 for 12 in this series. So you see what McGuire did after Baines, and you again appreciate just how big that double play ball was that Harold Baines hit.
Well, the steadiness the first half of the middle infield between Manny Lee and Robbie Alomar, and then take it even further out to center with Devon White.
The ball is outside. It's 1-1.
There's the problem. We haven't seen, I don't think, one breaking ball for a strike yet from Pat Henkin. All his strikes have been with the fastball.
This is with it there, 2-1.
And he's just missing with it. And if you're a hitter, Terry Steinbach, experienced enough, you just say to yourself, anytime I see a breaking ball, I'm going to take it because it's not going to be a strike. So you're ready for the fastball.
And from the Goodyear blimp, there's the lead McGuire is taking. And a strike is taken by Steinbach. It's 2-2. The roof open. open to start the game at least, but there are thunderstorms in the forecast. 23 Celsius is the game time temperature in Toronto this afternoon. It's up high. He runs himself into another 3-2 situation. And he walks another hitter. His third of the inning. 23-year-old continues to struggle, and his pitching coach squirms. Dave Steve tossing in the bullpen. 2 very impressive innings on Friday night from him.
What makes it difficult for Dave Steve, because he's rarely been in that situation in the bullpen, if he gets heated up right now, and let's say Pat Henkins settles back in, now Dave's going to have to sit down. He's not used to doing that, and then he may have to warm up later on.
Freddie Wilson couldn't quite get around on that. Strike one to the veteran switch hitter. Wilson missed yesterday after injuring the groin on Friday night, reaching for a fly ball. They need him. He's the only regular outfielder they have at the moment, with the 2 Hendersons and Canseco not available because of injury. Strike 2. Henson blows that high past him.
Well, he said he actually sustained that injury prior to going after that fly ball in left center. It was at a little collision he had at the plate, more or less an elbow in that hip area. So as opposed to a growing pull, it's just a bruise in the area. So it's not that bad. It's still bothering him, though, a little bit.
Strike 3. He looks at it. Henkin gets out of a tough first inning. The A's, a couple of hits and a trio of walks, score twice. 2-0 Oakland on the bat. Blue Jays baseball on ONT.
Hey, you coming out?
Right-hander Ron Darling is almost completed his warm-up preparations. Lineups for the Blue Jays brought to you by Ford of Canada, where quality is job one. It's working. DH role for Devon White today. Second base, Roberto Alomar, then Joe Carter in right. Winfield has the day off again. First base, John Olerud, then Maldonado. Derek Bell in center field for Devon White. Jeff Kemp for Gruber at third again. Pat Porter's catching. Manny Lee, the Toronto shortstop. Ron Darling, a record of 7-7. Till this year, hadn't given up a first-inning home run in 47 starts, but he's given up 3 in the first inning of games this year. An unusual kind of pitcher. He'll walk some, but rarely early. Seems to get his control earlier than most starters do.
Basically 3 pitches for Ron Darling. He'll work his fastball, has a good forkball, and a slurve in between slider and curveball, but he's working on a 3-game losing streak right now.
Breaking ball is popped up in foul territory, and nobody can catch up with this one. In fact, he's lost 4 of his last 5 starts, Darling has, allowing 30 hits and 21 earned runs in 23 innings. Will do nothing positive for your earned run average. It's now 478.
Always a tough competitor, though. Had some quality seasons with the New York Mets. 15-6 in their World Championship year, 1986 for New York.
Drops that down low, and it's 2-2. It's his 3rd career start against the Blue Jays. He is 0-2 so far against Toronto. This is just the 2nd game all season long that Devon White has not been in center field. It is the 3rd game that Dave Winfield has missed. There's speculation maybe something is wrong with Winfield, but Cito and Dave both deny it. They say he's fine, just getting an extra rest before the All-Star game. Means he'll have 5 days in total without playing.
I think what Cito tried to do with Dave Winfield was look into the numbers a little bit and saw the way Dave dropped off the second half last year with the California Angels. Look at the difference first half and second half. He does not want that to happen this year. They give the big guy 5 days off with the 3 days for the All-Star break, the last 2 days, and Cito hopes to have him back strong and ready to go for the second half.
Well, there again is the mark of a man doing his job well as manager. That's the case. That is ball 4 to White. Brings up Roberto Alomar. interesting pregame piece that Fergie did with Cito Gaston about all the criticism. Fergie made a statement that Blue Jays are 4 games up, and to the effect that the critics don't like that. I take a double meaning. They don't like that because there's less and less to complain about now. I think there are a lot of people who are into the complaining mode and are having a rough season. Toronto's off to a great halftime position. A check on Devon White over at first base.
Yeah, the talk show hosts and call-in hosts hate when the ball club plays well.
Always more calls after a loss. Always more complainers than praisers in this world, unfortunately. What a first half this man has had. Heading home to San Diego to show off to the folks on Tuesday, Roberto Alomar. His knee now is just about 100%. Just about back to where it was before he twisted it a few weeks ago. Again, this is now 2-1. Uncharacteristic of Darling over the years. He does not walk many in the first inning, but he's given a pass to White. He's behind Alomar now.
And especially going out there with a 2-0 lead.
Well, they got White. They'll make them work for it. Finally yields to Walt Weiss, who runs him down.
But Devon, trying to guess, didn't think that Darling would come over there. Really crossed him up, and you hate to see that happen when you're down 2-0. Good execution by Oakland. Saw a couple of pump fakes from Mark McGuire, and when you can get that rundown completed with just one toss, Weiss chasing Devon back, that's a good play.
Alomar into right field. Brown collects that. Now we have 2 quick outs.
Jerry Brown in right field. The rest of the defense for Oakland. Eric Fox, the left fielder. Willie Wilson, the veteran, in center. Lansford and Weiss secure the left side of the defense. Bordick and McGuire on the right. And Terry Steinbach behind the plate.
Here's Joe Carter. Could very likely be the selection as Steve continues to warm up. Carter could be the man to play for Canseco in San Diego in that starting lineup. The rule is that the players voted in by the fans have to start the game, unless, of course, they're injured, as is the case with Jose. Joe with 19 home runs. If he gets one today, will match his 20 home run total of the 87 All-Star break, career best.
Other choices, by the way, for Tom Kelly would be Brady Anderson, Roberto Kelly, Ruben Sierra, also a possibility.
Now Joe, a long, loud fly ball, trying to get Kelly's attention right there.
By the way, Tony La Russa a little upset that Canseco can't play. Rules say that if you're on the disabled list, even though you could go down to the minor leagues on a rehab assignment and play. La Russa was hoping that possibly the league would abide and allow that one game sort of a rehab for Canseco, but he will not be able to play in the game. He'll be able to appear, but not play.
It's a major league game. If you're on the DL, you don't play.
That's right.
2-2 in the Darling-Carter battle. Nobody on, 2 gone. Blue Jay first. They're down 2-0 to Oakland. Struck him out. Darling shuts the Jays down. 2-0 A's after an inning at the Skydome in the finale of this series this afternoon on the Bat Blue Jays baseball on ONT.
Labatt Blue Jays baseball on ONT. Brought to you by your local bottler of Coca-Cola. Can't beat the real thing.
From high atop, the shot from the Goodyear blimp. From Akron, Ohio, pilot Aaron Jenkins at the controls this afternoon. Brightening a cloudy day just a little bit for us. Mike Bordick at the plate, the number 8 hitter. Pat Henkin continues on the mound for the Blue Jays. He went through 7 hitters, 31 pitches in the first inning, yielding 2 runs. He went through 6 hitters his last start in the first inning and then came back and settled down very nicely. Blue Jays are hoping he can do that again today, but Steve has been getting ready just in case. Drops it down low, 2-1 to Bordick.
First game of this series, Bordick dipped below that 300 mark, but then he started to package together some hits.
There's another. Carter reaches in, lost control of it there. Among the spectators, Bordick's got a double. Two doubles, a single, 3 walks given up in the early going by Pat Henkin.
Well, Bordick now 6 for 12 in the series, so he's come alive. Now he's 6 or 7 points over that 300 mark.
But his 6 hits, Tommy, 4 of them now have been doubles in this series. He's at second base, the number 9 hitter, Walt Weiss, a switch hitter. He's about 65 points better from where he stands now on the left side of the plate. High, ball 1.
Weiss not a bad bunter, so you always have to be aware in this situation, nobody out. See what he elects to do to do his job and try to move Bordick over to third. He can either try to pull a pitch or he can try to do the job with a bunt.
He may be the best bunter in this team. 2-0.
But the problem right here for Pat Henkin, he needed to come out here in the second inning and reestablish that breaking ball. Seeing that he's still struggling, Steve continues to warm up. I think Henkin may be running out of opportunities here. Well, what happens when a pitcher has not shown the hitters that he can get his breaking ball over, then he tries to throw the fastball a little too hard and be a little too fine with it. Now you lose your control with your fastball, and that's the situation Henkin's in right now.
The teams who have a habit of winning together and losing together are doing it once again today. The Blue Jays losing 2-0. Baltimore losing 4-0 to Minnesota at the top of the second at Camden Yards this afternoon.
Willie Banks against Bob Malachy.
Fastball strike with Weiss taking all the way, 3-1.
You know, earlier today I was looking through all the pitching matchups, both the American League and National League. No all-star pitchers are pitching today, so both staffs, American League and National League, will be very strong for the game on Tuesday.
Strike 2. Kevin Brown of Texas won his 14th game yesterday. That's the earliest anybody has won 14 since 1989. And depending on how much he was used up, he now would be the favorite, I would think, to start.
I would think so. Yeah, with 2 days rest, that would be a day that he would probably throw in the bullpen. So to go out and pitch a couple of innings in the All-Star game, he could be that starter or Juan Guzman. I look for either one of those two.
Walk number 4. Here comes Cito, and this could be all. It will be for Pat Henkin.
Now, a matter of inches. You think about some of the pitches that Pat missed, the fastballs that he missed for balls, missed just by inches.
So Dave Steve will come out of the pen and try to pick it up here. This pitching change is brought to you by Apple Auto Glass. Guaranteed the pick of the crop from coast to coast.
You heard Pat Henkin talking to Fergie earlier, and he talked about the fact that he needed to get that curveball over today compared to his last start. Look at the number of pitches, the number of strikes and balls. 1 or 2 of those strikes with the curveball, the rest fastball, so he still had trouble with the breaking pitch today.
And control was his problem this afternoon. So They will go to a former starter looking to be a starter again to pick it up for him. Those numbers aren't too flattering, but you got to consider this. In his appearance on Friday night, Steve looked very strong, retiring all 6 men in order. Also, in his other relief appearance against California, he worked 2 innings, gave up just 1 hit, struck out 2. So you put 4 innings together out of the bullpen. Dave Steve's given up 1 hit. He inherits 2 base runners here with nobody gone on the second. At first base is Weiss. At second base is Bordick. And leadoff hitter Eric Fox is at the plate.
Very important appearance right here, Dave Steve. Going into the second half of the season, Dave can come out, have a good 3 or 4 innings, strong innings. It'll help some decisions the Jays have to make in the second half.
This is the first time he has not started an inning. That runs off the bat of Fox foul. He would prefer, of course, to do that, but Cito had no choice. Could have started him in the second ahead of Henkin right now, but chose not to.
I think Cito just wanted to give Pat the benefit, see if he could get that curveball over.
Double by Bordick, a walk to Weiss, and that was all for Henkin. Fox, a pretty good-looking bunt down. Safe at first. Bases are loaded. Execution by Eric Fox. He goes long yesterday with a home run and very short today for his second major league hit.
That's right. His first major league hit was about 380 feet. This next one about 45 feet. Excellent bunt. He shows it. Sacrifice all the way, but that shows how when you're perfect with the butt up the third baseline, you still can't make the play.
Even though he showed it, it looked like he surprised Kent to a certain extent. Steve certainly, too. A good fielding pitcher who's been known to pounce on those. Bases loaded for Jerry Brown. Brown singled in the first inning and scored.
Second inning in a row that Oakland's had the bases loaded, nobody out.
Teams have gone in streaks. The Jays had won the first 5 this year. In fact, the last 6 they had played going back to last year. Now, Oakland bounces back with 2 straight wins, looking for a third. Up high, driven to left field. Maldonado with it. Tag made. The third run will score. Bordick brings it home. 3-0 A's. Jerry Brown is 18 RBI of the year, the sac fly to left.
And heads up by Walt Weiss, the runner at second base. Jerry Brown scored easily. Or Bordick scored easily, but Weiss, seeing that Candy Maldonado had to retreat back, and when he made the catch, had his momentum going back to left field. Anytime a runner sees an outfielder making a play like this, and this is the only way Candy could make that play, then you have to go back and tag up because you're going to have a better chance to move over 90 feet.
He's at third. Still at first base is Eric Fox. Or Carney Lansford, who walked in the first inning. 4 hits. Oakland has a 3-0 lead. Not a good road trip for Carney. Nice pitch. Drops down for strike 1.
Nice pitch, not only because of the velocity, but look at that location. Inside part of the plate.
Snap throw, checking on Fox over at first base. He misses low. The count even 1-1. Lansford's career year was 89. Hit .336, finishing second to Kirby Puckett in the American League batting race. Then had a brilliant postseason to top it off. He went .444 in the A's 9 postseason games of 89. Sends this one to lead. Flip to Alomar on to first. Despite the bounce, it's a double play. and the inning is over. So Steve comes on and certainly minimizes some potentially major damage. Just one run scores 3-0 Oakland on Labatt Blue Jays baseball on ONT. Into the bottom of the second inning, a rough outing for the Blue Jays so far. They trail 3-0. Now the number 4 hitter, John Olerud. And he clean up for the second straight day in a row. Second day in a row. Of course, Winfield not in the lineup. That's why. Leads it off. Weiss will give way to the left fielder. Fox has it.
You know, the way you have to look at this ball game right now as a Toronto Blue Jay player on the bench, you say you still have 8 more at bats. The Athletics are ahead 3-0, but they could be ahead 5-0. A couple of double play balls have really helped out. They've had bases loaded the first 2 innings, but some nice 6-4-3 double plays have kept it to 3-0. So it could be a lot worse.
Well, there's a light sprinkle falling, and Dale Ford, the third base umpire, was looking over toward the dugout like, hey, let's get this roof closed. There you see the umbrellas, and this is a scene we haven't seen for some time here in the Skydome. Everybody waiting, looking skyward to see if they're going to close the dome.
A little surprising it was open given the forecast today. Candy Maldonado for Willie Wilson. A fly ball out for Ron Darling. 2 gone here in the second inning. A cash donation will be made to the Canadian Diabetes Association on behalf of the Labatt Blue player of the game for Toronto and Sanyo. When you're away from your cordless phone, Sanyo takes a message with the new static-free cordless telephone answering machine. If it isn't clear, it simply isn't a Sanyo.
And as Willie Wilson made that catch of the Candy Maldonado fly ball, the dome starts to close.
Fergie speaks, and the dome closes just like that.
Well, he's right down there by the button.
So another game that begins outdoors will likely finish indoors here at the Skydome. Derek Bell in center field. A rare start out there. One and one. Originally, Devon White was in center, and Derek was the DH. Cito made a late switch.
Derek, no stranger, too, to center field. He can play there. He's learned to play left and right.
2 and 1. Batting with nobody on and 2 out. Toronto's second inning. Trailing Oakland 3-0. You say 4 hits and all those walks. Indeed, it could be a much bigger score than it is right now. Double play balls got the Jays out of a couple of jams. A wild one in Baltimore. Leo Gomez now a 3-run homer, and the Orioles come back. Almost. They're down 4-3 to Minnesota. Second inning. Neil Joshi, more scores and of course highlights a little later on. Sports break.
It'll be very interesting to see how Derek Bell bounces back the second half of the season. Yes, he has had limited playing time, but he needs to get his stroke a little more on track.
Just missed. Second walk issued by Darling, just a second base runner. The roof continues to close. The rain moving in. It's a different look from the Goodyear blip. I can't recall we've ever seen it quite like that. I guess unless you're on a plane either coming to or leaving Toronto, you won't see it from that angle. This is Jeff Kent. Third baseman starting his 14th consecutive game for Gruber at third base. Has not hit all that well, though, in that span. Just 205. Has a strike to him here.
I talked to Kelly a little bit prior to the game, and he said he's just going to rest the knee during the break, but really couldn't nail down a time when he thought he'd be ready to play after the All-Star break.
If the examinations reveal nothing seriously wrong. Wilson has a lot of room out there in center field for the fly ball from Kent, and the inning is over. Walks have not hurt Ron Darling so far today. He leads 3-0 over the Blue Jays. At Blue Jays baseball on ONT.
Labatt Blue Jays baseball on ONT. Brought to you by CIBC, the Bank of the Blue Jays.
And above the skyline of Toronto, Goodyear blimp giving us those live pictures this afternoon. The Spirit of Akron. Less than ideal flying conditions as the overcast draws closer and closer.
Would have liked to have been in that Goodyear blimp last night for the tremendous fireworks display I saw at Ontario Place, put on by Benson and Hedges. What a great show. 4 countries involved. Would have been a great view from that blimp.
Actually, I saw a little bit of it flying in just for a few seconds. Very impressive. Harold Bain starts the 3rd inning with a strike to it. Dave Steve came in and got the fly ball from Jerry Brown, but it produced a run charge to Henskin, a sac fly. And then the double play from Lansford to get out of the last inning. And here looks mighty strong, starting to Bain.
Dave Steve trying to get Baines to chase that pitch. He got the fastball by him to get the 2nd strike. And then the sharp breaking ball couldn't get the veteran hitter. There's the pitch on the outer part of the plate. Couldn't get him to chase the pitch after that.
Dave Steve has had about 24 innings of bullpen work over the years with the Blue Jays, and a pretty impressive earned run average of 275 in that span. There's a hit off him up the middle by Baines with 2 strikes on him.
That just shows what a quality hitter Harold Baines is. A lot of hitters with 2 strikes would chase that sharp breaking ball. Baines was able to stay away from it, and the longer you wait, the more chances you get of getting your pitch. Even though it was outside, Baines was able to go after it. There's an example of a guy staying way off the plate, but look at how he reaches the pitch that was actually an inch or 2 off the outside corner. Don't let that 249 batting average fool you of Harold Baines.
Board for Mark McGuire. McGuire doubled in a run in the 1st inning. He was the people's choice at first base. In a very tough situation, because I think the greatest omission in years from the All-Star team is Cecil Fielder. That is up and will be just out of play. Fielder with 73 RBIs. Some don't have that in an entire season. Most of the league won't make the All-Star team. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Toronto Blue Jays may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of the Toronto Blue Jays Baseball Club.
McGuire, too, a guy that Tony La Russa would like to give more days off, but because of Henderson out, both Hendersons, Canseco, he has to keep his big man in there most of the time.
That's tight and turns McGuire back from the plate at 2-1. The player chosen to be the other first baseman is Wally Joyner, and I guess it's justice for him. He's had several great seasons, but it's Joyner's first All-Star selection. He's had a pretty good year, Joyner, but it comes at the expense of Cecil Fielder. Just can't please everybody. Down the line, Alomar takes charge in foul territory. He's got it. 1 away.
You know, to carry that about the first baseman selected, the thing that makes that a little unusual, too, even more so, is the fact that the Kansas City Royals do have another player on the team, so it's not like Joyner is the only represented Royal. Jeff Montgomery out of their bullpen is an All-Star, as is Wally Joyner.
Well, they have a 28-man roster. Maybe 30 wouldn't hurt. Let the commissioner name 2 that should be there. Be a thought for the future?
Yeah, give him more problems.
More controversy.
He doesn't have enough.
With his luck, he picked 2 players that somebody would sue him. Steinbach, the catcher at the plate, 1-0.
Take him to arbitration. Have a hearing.
Now Minnesota 5-3. with Todd Froworth coming in to pitch for the Orioles the top of the third against the Twins in Baltimore. 5-3 Minnesota. Hit a wild one last night. Twins went up 6-0, had to hang on to win 6-5. 2-0 to Terry Steinbeck.
The key to watching Dave Steve, and it always is, and it's what he's working on, is that release point, that arm on top. And when it's on top, he gets the good sharp break and the slider stays down. When it's out a little bit, more flatness in the pitch and it's more hittable.
2-1.
Same thing with the fastball. That was good movement. Steinbeck didn't think it was a strike.
0-83 hitter against Steve.
Saw the slider move away. Watch this fastball. Starts it outside. It moves over the plate and down.
Got a call there. 2-2.
Steinbeck can't disagree because the pitch prior to that, the same place.
Now the 2-2. Borders sets up away. It's grounded to Kent. Around to Alomar and on to Olerud. Another double play. 3 Blue Jay double plays this afternoon. And Oakland's lead remains 3-0 after 2.5 for the roof, closing all the more on the bat. Blue Jays baseball on ONT. Well, this is Coca-Cola Cap Day, and everybody gets a Blue Jay road uniform cap. Good timing, too, because it's helping to keep some of these fans dry as the drizzle continues. And the big cap here closes at the Skydome, but it takes about 20 minutes to be completely closed. Pat Borders, the catcher, begins the third inning with the Jays down by 3. Indeed, it could be much worse than 3. 3 double plays, very big factors for the Toronto team today. Manny Lee and Devon White after Borders. He sends that into right field. Big chase by Brown. It is just foul. Brown was not going to get there, and he had to hope that it landed foul, and just did.
As a hitter in that case, too, Pat Borders can see that as he goes up the first base line. You say that quick prayer as you near first base and hope the ball stays fair. Because Brown knew that he wasn't going to get to it. Pat Borders knows that if it stays fair, it bounces into the seats and he has a 2-base hit.
Wasn't fouled by much, was it?
Not by much.
And Borders in the hole at 0-2. Game of inches. Fouls one off to the left side.
It's been a good first half, I think, for Pat Borders, too, especially if you look back to his season of 1991. Remember, Pat Borders last year before the All-Star game did not hit a home run. Already 7 home runs, 21 RBIs.
There goes the bat.
Look out, Fergie.
All hands are safe, I hope, Fergie.
Well, there's Lee, and that bat landed right behind her. Gal in the umbrella works for us, has for years. Pasamenti and Lee, you're lucky, and Lee is pregnant too, I might add. So thank goodness that bat missed her.
Let's have no early contractions here.
Let's put it this way: it was a lot closer to Lee than it was to me.
She had planned to go and see Batman next week, but didn't have Pat Borders in mind. Borders got on the strikeout with a flying bat, and Manny Lee's at the plate with a strike to him. Taken high, 1-1. And getting closer and closer to indoor baseball we are, as seen from the Goodyear blimp. Transferred up a few feet from third base, but it was swung on foul for 1-2.
You know, a lot of players will stay around the Toronto area during the All-Star break. Some will go home. Manny Lee said he's going to go back to the Dominican for a couple of days. Spend some time with family back there. Watch on this swing.
It's
Because
slick
of the
there.
little slip, that back foot gives way as Manny tries to take off and head up the first baseline.
Here he chases Lansford. Running out of room. Didn't get it. Count holds at 1 and 2.
You know, many times we see players look up into the sky checking the sun, but how many times does a player, especially a visiting player, look up and see part sky, part roof, a little movement in the roof, a few drizzles coming down? So if Carney Lansford ever had a time to make an excuse, it would be there, but knowing him, no excuse at all.
Remember the first time they closed the roof during a game was against Milwaukee early in the '89 campaign. And the only people, as the roof closed, still getting wet were the hitter, the catcher, and umpire Rich Garcia. Everybody else was happy.
And it was raining much harder than it is now.
Much harder. Well, 2 strikeouts in a row for Darling, and the mission is almost completed. 3 strikeouts on the day for the Oakland starter. And we'll all be very dry very soon. Next up for Darling is Devon White. He walked in to start the game. And they caught him in a rundown and erased him that way. Swung on foul to the right side.
You talked earlier, Chev, about the record of the Jays first half. You know, in the last 10 years, only 3 clubs have had a better record at the All-Star break than the Jays will have. And all 3 of those clubs went into the World Series. 2 won the series. The '84 Tigers, '86 Mets, and the '87 Cardinals.
Taken for a ball, 1 and 1. Well, they're on target for 100-plus wins. Nice pitch by Darling makes it 1 and 2. Minnesota leading Baltimore. Just 1 win behind the Blue Jays. The second best record in baseball. Last year was even better for the Blue Jays at the All-Star break, 91.
Bigger lead, but the record not as good.
5.5. And that will take care of the Jays in the 3rd inning. Nice pitching by Ron and Darling as he continues to shut out the Blue Jays on Labatt Blue Jays baseball on ONT. Mission accomplished. The Dome now completely closed here for the remainder of this game this afternoon, which Oakland leads 3-0 over the Toronto Blue Jays after 3 innings. For the A's in the 4th, the bottom 3rd of the order, Willie Wilson and Bordick and Weiss. Kent down the line makes a nice catch.
Jeff Kent taking charge. He knew that ball wasn't high enough to allow Manny Lee, the shortstop, to get over and make that play. Motions with his right hand, I have it, and then just cradles it with both hands to make sure he keeps a hold of the ball.
1 away on the Kent reception, and Mike Bordick's at the plate. Bordick doubled in the 2nd inning. Wound up scoring Oakland's 3rd run. Takes that up and in, 2-0. Now it's 3-0.
Even though Mike Bordick won't be in the All-Star game, he did receive the most write-in votes. He said he actually had a lot of those from his hometown of Mechanics, Maine. All those hometown people sending those write-in votes. Mike Bordick.
Hard to get your hands on an actual ballot up in Mechanics, Maine. Bordick aboard for Walt Weiss. 5 walks by Blue Jay pitchers. That's the first from Steve today. Weiss drew one as Henkin departed in the 2nd inning. again. Good prospect to bunt, Walt Weiss. Takes it down and in. Ball 1. It's simply remarkable what Tony La Russa has done with, what you call it, makeshift lineup, make-do lineup with all the injuries they have had. He stays in the race. He's looking now to go 3 out of 4 against the Blue Jays, who had had an 8-game win streak right here in Toronto. I think one of the greatest errors in judgment over the years was the day the Chicago White Sox let Tony La Russa go as manager.
Well, and he's happy at the prospects of having both Hendersons, Ricky and Dave, and Jose Canseco back after the All-Star break.
Weiss drills that into left field. Bordick will continue on to third. Runners on the corners, 1 out. Oakland threatens again here in the 4th.
Just write that one down as a perfectly executed hit and run. Manny Lee covering, so that left side is open. Weiss takes the pitch right in that direction on the ground. No chance. You see Manny Lee going over to cover second base. Then with the ball in front of him, the runner, Mike Bordick, sees that he has plenty of time because he was on the move to make it over to third. So the left fielder, Candy Maldonado, your job right there, and he does it. Don't try to throw to third to get this guy. You try to keep the double play in order, throw back to second base.
Hit number 6 for Oakland this afternoon. Top of the order, Eric Fox. That is ball 1. Fox took the long way around, the indirect route to the major leagues. He was in Tacoma, then got sent down to AA Huntsville. From Huntsville, he came back up to join Oakland when the injuries hit.
And originally, back in 1984, drafted by the Blue Jays in the 22nd round.
1 ball, 1 strike to him.
He had a great line. He said the reason he didn't sign with the Blue Jays, he never really talked to anybody with the Blue Jays.
He was relaxing after the game at a local watering hole Friday and talking with the guy next to him how he'd hoped to get his first hit the next day, which was yesterday afternoon, off Juan Guzman. Found the fellow next to him a very patient listener, and then discovered, much to his horror and embarrassment later, it was David Wells, who was taking it all in very quietly.
Always realize, watch what you say. You never know.
Weiss diving back in safely. But he made good on his promise no matter who he was talking to. Not only his first hit, but a home run came off Guzman on that game Saturday afternoon. That was close. Weiss is safe.
Dave still with that quick move, and his quickness all starts in the quick footwork that he has. That's why he has a fast move over to first base. Can't have a good move unless you utilize those quick feet.
Lee makes a brilliant stab, gets the force, the run scores. It's now 4-0. But what a play by Manny Lee.
Well, 3 innings in a row, the Jays have been able to turn a double play. If this ball is a little closer to Manny Lee, they make it 4 straight. But a great effort just to get to this and get the force out at second base. And Eric Fox runs pretty well, so even though Robbie Alomar tried that fadeaway throw, no chance at all to get him. But good defense, good range. We've seen Manny go to his right. We've seen him go up the middle and make that play. He's covered a lot of ground.
He just gets better as he goes along. It's remarkable. I mean, you think you've seen the best of Manny Lee can perform for you, and the next time out, it's even more spectacular. Brown's at the plate with Fox diving back into first base. An unusual thing, speaking of shortstops, as we were yesterday, Ozzie Smith charged with 2 errors in the same game. He hadn't committed one for 42 games previously. Steve has been tough on Brown. Borders can't control that. Fox on his way to second. Lee indicating don't throw it to Pat Borders.
That pitch really took off on Pat Borders, a fastball. I think it was a pitch out. He started to move to come outside. I have to give Pat Borders a pass ball. We'll see what the scoring is. But he's starting to come up out of his crouch, so I'm led to believe that was a pitch out called, but the pitch really took off on him further than he thought.
It is a pass ball. Sawchuk scoring today. And that is out of play to the left side.
Thinking of Ozzie Smith, we talked about Joe Carter and Robbie Alomar returning to San Diego. Ozzie Smith started his career with the San Diego Padres before being traded. Since we're along a Padre train of thought with the All-Star game in San Diego, great question. Who was the Padres' first 300 hitter?
I think I know this, so I'll just let everybody think about it for a moment.
Little hint, he will not be going to San Diego for the All-Star game.
But he has a Blue Jay association.
He sure does.
Steve now ready with a 2-1 offering for Brown. In right field. Carter will chase it up and over the wall. No, off the wall. Run scores, makes it 5-0. Brown has got himself a double. And the A's increase their lead. The second run batted into the game for Brown. He's 19 on the year.
You talk about a journeyman player who's really found his niche. A breaking ball that just stays up. That was that flat breaking ball we talked about that Dave Steve wants to try to get away from. And Jerry Brown just attacks it. You think that ball might bounce over, but it stays in play, and Joe Carter had to get it back in quickly.
So a walk, single, now a double, dropping Steve up in the 4th inning. 5-0 Oakland on 7 hits. Darling held the Jays hitless. Jammed him and he's fouled back.
And by the way, the answer to our trivia question.
First Padre 300 hitter was Cito.
And you know what? In that year, he was an all-star. Cito Gaston hit .318, 29 home runs, 93 RBIs, and represented the Padres in the All-Star game in 1970.
He and Nate Colbert were quite a potent power combination with that team in those days. Kent. Over it out of the dirt, can't handle it. Another run will score. Brown brings it home. 6-0 A's. Kent had to bounce it in for some reason, and Olerud was unable to bail him out.
It's one of those plays you know you have plenty of time. Jeff Kent got the ball in enough time that instead of throwing it over hard, he taps it into the glove and he tries to lob it over instead of firing over, try to get it chest high, and then John Olerud unable to come up with the pick. So that's a young mistake.
That was not what Olerud was expecting in the least. Transferred back to the edge of the track for Maldonado. Harold Baines it was as the inning is over. And more damage done to Steve and the Blue Jays, who now trail Oakland by 6 on the Bat Blue Jays baseball on ONT.
The Bat Blue Jays baseball on ONT. Brought to you by La Bat Blue. Honest and true. You bet it's blue.
First offering to Alomar from Ron Darling in the Toronto 4th is ball 1. Oakland ahead 6-0. Carter and Olerud will also, with Alomar, try to break up this no-hit bid by Darling. Had one a couple of weeks ago to the 7th inning at Oakland's Alameda County Coliseum.
No stranger to no-hitters. He's never pitched one in the major leagues, but he had a tremendous performance in his collegiate career.
Alomar led second base position, much the best of the league. Wilson going back, one away.
Get the production out of a second base position. That's why your offense is helped. Usually you look at the second base position for glove work, fielding, not so much from the offensive standpoint, but Robbie with those 45 RBIs, stolen bases, the glove, yes, he does it all.
At the plate is Carter with a strike. And then when you talk about Joe's position, look what he has done against the rest of the league in right field.
Steady would be the word that applies.
Carter himself has 19 home runs. Of course, it's a combination of being in right field and playing DH. Hit the 20 by the All-Star break in '87. One shy of that right here. Strike two. 2-2.
Talking about Ron Darling, he pitched at Yale University, and in a playoff game, NCAA, he was up against St. John's Frank Viola.
Carter to Weiss. And the Joe Carter drought continues. He's now 0 for his last 9 at bats.
In that ball game that matched a couple of major league pitchers, they didn't know it at the time, Viola and Ron Darling. It went 12 innings. Viola and St. John's won the game 1-0. Darling had a no-hitter through 11. Ended up the losing pitcher.
Think the fans got their money's worth that day?
If they wanted pitching, they did.
John Olerud now up high. Olerud said after the loss yesterday he thought it was very important for the Blue Jays to win today and leave the All-Star break at the virtual halfway point, although it isn't exactly on a high note. That isn't turning out to be the case this afternoon. 2-0. At first base, John's been there much of the time at 265 against 259 for the league average.
Of course, the league average goes up just with the production of Cecil Fielder. He kind of messes things up.
Fox on the warning track. It hangs there for him to catch. And the inning is over. 7 straight retired by Darling. He's still hitless in the Matt Blue Jays baseball on ONT. We are now enclosed at the Skydome, but the Goodyear blimp continues outside on this cloudy and drizzly afternoon. And thanks to the folks from Akron, Ohio, pilot Aaron Jenkins, for the marvelous shots they've given us from the spirit of Akron today. Mark McGuire check swings at foul, 1-1. He leads off the 5th inning. Oakland on top, 6-0.
See Mark kind of squeeze those shoulders in. It's the thing he's concentrating on, not flying open and getting that upper half open too soon.
Pops it up into shallow right field. Alomar is everywhere, and Carter just communicates with him. They're going to get him at second base anyway. McGuire tried to stretch it. So the Blue Jays make a mistake and get away with one, as McGuire makes the base running miscalculation.
Well, miscommunication, and you hate to say it, but the way things have happened in this game, it almost appears the Blue Jays are playing like they're ready for the All-Star break. Joe thought he could get there. The only heads-up play is by John Olerud, alertly bouncing on it and seeing that McGuire was halfway to second base and then making a good throw.
So it's a single, and then he's thrown out 3-6 for the first out of the 5th inning, and Terry Steinbach's at the plate. It's not a single, of course, but an error charge to Joe Carter. Then the 3-6 put out. That's Toronto's second error of the day. Ball on a strike to Steinbach. He walked in the first inning, hit into a double play in the third. I think the 6-0 score is bad enough. The Jays hadn't turned 3 double plays. It would have been a lot worse this afternoon. 1 ball, 2 strikes now to the A's catcher. Oakland yesterday, winning here 3-1, became the 4th Major League team to reach 50 wins. Slow roller. Lee hurries hard and gets there with a fine throw. 2 away.
Well, do it all, Manny. Let's see what other plays you can make. I like the way Dave Steve came off the mound, thought about going after it and said, wait a minute, I've had guys like Tony Fernandez, Alfredo Griffin. Now I have Manny Lee playing behind me. Let him make the play.
Manny's having his own little all-star game right here this afternoon. He was second, the distant second to Cal Ripken in batting, and Travis Fryman was chosen to back up Ripken. Manny's not going, but he's doing it all today. Ball 1 to Willie Wilson. He's 0 for 2 this afternoon. Two and 0. Dave Steve came on for starter Pat Hentgen with 2 on, nobody out in the second inning, and for a while held the line. Hard shot to Alomar. Wilson becomes the final out of inning 5. Steve and the Jays are down by 6. It'll bat Blue Jays baseball on ONT. Well, they gave away the road caps, but this youngster says, hey, I'm sticking with a home team version. Here at the Skydome this afternoon. And the home team has not fared all that well as they trail Oakland 6-0 into the bottom half of the 5th inning. Candy Maldonado takes it inside for ball 1.
You know, thinking of that Syracuse ball club, always tough for AAA ball clubs that have a lot of player movement. Players coming up and down. Dick Leyva, the manager there, has seen some of his better players come up and then they come back down. Ed Sprague has been steady, leading the ball club in home runs.
Left field production almost identical. Candy and Derek Bell out there to the rest of the league on average. 2-1 is the count.
Candy will certainly take this first half compared to his last season's first half. Spent a lot on the DL with Milwaukee. Appeared in just 34 games with Milwaukee before coming to the Jays in August. First half last year, a couple of home runs, hit 194.
Hitting is such a streaky thing. 2-2 to Maldonado here. Blue Jays held hitless so far today by Ron Darling into the bottom of the 5th inning. Have only picked up 7 hits in their last 2 games. Now it's 7 hits into almost 2.5 games. Bats suddenly fall silent. Candy lifts it into center field. Coming in, Willie Wilson. 1 away.
Well, they've seen, too, in talking about the 3 games, 3 similar type veteran pitchers. Here's Darling working on the outside. In a way, a little similar to Mike Moore. He comes back inside with a fastball because he also throws the split finger pitch. And then you think about Bob Welch the other night, a veteran who knows how to work hitters, keep hitters off balance. You heard a lot of the hitters talk about how Welch had them off balance. So 3 tough veteran type right-handed pitchers.
That's ball 1 to Derek Bell, one of only 2 Blue Jay base runners this afternoon. Devon White is the other. They both were walked. One and 1 is the count to Derek. And the next telecast over these stations, Baltimore, will be a very big series against the Blue Jays Wednesday, August 12th. That's a month from now, but of course the Olympics will be seen over many of these stations in the interim. We certainly wish the folks going to Barcelona good luck with their production of the Summer Olympic Games.
You think about the pitching staff of the Athletics, those 3 that I mentioned with a healthy Dave Stewart. He has elbow problems, but he was pitching well before he went on the DL with a sore elbow.
Right field. Brown is there. 2 away. Let's pause now for this one.
Over the last 4 seasons, you and I have helped raise millions of dollars for research into Crohn's and colitis. We've given real hope to thousands of Canadians who suffer from these hard-hitting diseases. To know more about the progress being made, call this number.
This is Jeff Kent, 0 for 1. He's committed an error defensively this afternoon, takes this for ball 1. And let's compare third base, where Kent and Gruber have been this year, with the rest of the league. Again, the Blue Jays fare very well. That's with a youngster like Kent specifically carrying much of the load the last month.
You know, I think it is important, though, and Cito has said the same thing, to get a healthy, productive Kelly Gruber back in the lineup for the second half of the season, defensively and offensively.
Strike taken, 1 and 2. Don't know, as you say, when Kelly is coming back. Lawrence Monolix, another one who has been battling all year from back problems, trying to get back in his lineup.
As all of a sudden pitchers starting to see Jeff Kent, he's going to need to make some adjustments. His batting average, with all the playing time, has come down.
Hard one, Hopper to Weiss. Will throw him out. The tag will be made at first base by McGuire, and the Blue Jays are retired again. Darling through 5, a no-hitter. Bath Blue Jays baseball on ONT.
Now, an Ontario Network Television Coca-Cola Sports Break. Here's Sunil Joshi.
Good afternoon. The Blue Jays with a little breathing room over the Orioles heading into the All-Star break. The O-Birds trailing by 4 after last night's loss to West leader Minnesota. Series finale at Camden Yards this afternoon. Remember, the Twins are trying to maintain their lead over Oakland. O's manager Johnny Oates walked Kent Herbeck to pitch to Pedro Munoz. Pedro makes him pay with a 3-run blast in the first inning off Bob Malachy. Trailing 4-0. Leo Gomez returns the favor, a 3-run homer of his own that barely clears the fence. It's his 6th of the year. They're playing in the 5th, and Minnesota leads by 1. Looking at the rest of the scoreboard, Boston up by 1 in the 7th. Kansas City leading Milwaukee by 2 runs in the 1st. For the past few weeks, the Atlanta Braves have been hot on the heels of West leader Cincinnati. Atlanta picked up a full game yesterday, trailed by 3 heading into today's contest at Wrigley. Rain delay in Chicago, 1-0 for Cincinnati in the 3rd. More in a moment.
Jeff Kent indeed has been very much at home on third base of late for the Blue Jays, but now he'll take a break. Tom Quinlan was called up on the 8th of July. He'll get a few innings of work in at third base. He came up from Syracuse with just a .219 average, with the Blue Jays need an extra infielder until the All-Star break at least. Mike Bordick at the plate. Rides this past Steve up the middle for a single to start the Oakland 6th inning. Bordick aboard for the 3rd time today. He has scored each of the previous 2 after a walk and a double.
Whatever struggle Bordick was having coming into the series, he's corrected the problem. 7th base hit in this series. That wide open stance that he's gone to this year. Last year, he became the starting shortstop almost every game the second half of the season when Walt Weiss went down with an injury. Because he's hit so well, now he's over at second base.
Well, he came in hitting .375 lifetime in the Skydome and has gone 2 for 2 with a walk today. He's improved on that measurably. Walt Weiss with strike 1. Weiss also aboard twice with a single and walk. Taken outside, 1-1. For how we looked back last week and said, well, California is really struggling. Blue Jays could capitalize on them, and they did. Seattle also not playing well. Oakland, really, with all the injuries, Jays have a chance to do well, but they're in danger of losing 3 of 4 as Oakland. Whether they use mirrors or whatever it is, they get it done without their big guns.
Shows what kind of prognosticators we are.
Taken low and inside, 3-1.
Have to think about it too. Dave working in his 5th inning now. This is a lot of innings lot of pitches, more than he's thrown in quite some time. 58 pitches to this point.
He's getting a good workout today, if not a satisfied. It'll be out of play foul on the left side.
Tommy, you talk about Dave Stieb, and I think the Blue Jays really have to be concerned about Stieb. You know, he's had one real good start. That was against Milwaukee. He hasn't come back to what he was before he injured his back. And what are the Blue Jays going to do with him? I mean, are they going to leave a guy that they're paying $3-some million in the bullpen? They're going to put him back in the starting rotation? What are they going to do with Dave Stieb? I mean, is there a possibility that they could release Dave Stieb?
I don't think so. I think the second half of the season, if he shows that he can pitch a little bit, I don't know if they're forced to put him back in the rotation. I don't think they're willing to eat that type of contract, so keep him in the bullpen, because there is place in the bullpen with David Wells starting. But then you always have to wonder what will happen when Todd Stottlemyre comes back, too.
There's a walk to ice. Over to second goes Boarding. First two runners are on at Steve's expense here in the 6th inning. Well, he has been such a dominating pitcher over the years. His emotions have betrayed him on more than one occasion. Lack of run support, poor performance by the bullpen following him have betrayed him over the years. His record certainly should be a lot better than it is, but was it a case maybe of coming back too soon from that injury?
I think Dave himself questions that at times. Even though it's 6-0, heads up for that bunt. Remember that fine bunt that Fox put down in the 2nd inning.
One and out, Eric Fox right now. He's enjoying a weekend to remember here in Toronto at the Skydome. 2-run homer yesterday, 2 runs scored today. Now this, Steve can't handle it. He will get a chance over at third base. Quinlan will make the tag on Boarding for the first out of the inning.
Tell you, depending on how the runners reacted, that had possible triple play written on it. Dave tries to make the catch. Probably had a shot at second base to double off Boarding if he makes the catch, but ends up with the out at third base. That was what you call trying to catch a changeup. The ball was hit on the line, but not as hard as Dave first thought, because it was a shattered bat from Fox.
So Weiss at second. Fox there with the fielder's choice. Jerry Brown is the hitter. A couple of runs driven in today already. He takes ball 1. Brown singled and scored in the first. His sac fly to left produced a run in the second. His double produced another run in the 4th inning. Big day for the former Cleveland Indian. And the big day gets bigger. They're going to hold the runner at third. At second base, they had a chance there. As runner almost got away, got ahead of himself down there.
I tell you what, the runner held. Boarding got a good jump from second. The ball hit sharply, but Rene Latchman, the third base coach, held Boarding. Boarding rounding third base is held, and they almost nail Fox coming back. But Joe Carter was conceding the run. He didn't come to the plate with his throw, even though Latchman put on the stop sign at third base.
And that's ball 1 to the number 3 hitter, Carney Lansford. The base is loaded with 1 out. Backing out of play for 1-1. Lansford today reached on an error and a walk and grounded into a double play. Two strikes on Lansford, but you talked earlier about how difficult he is to strike out.
Especially in these situations. Right now, once he gets to that 2-strike point, then he just tries to put the ball in play. So if Dave Steve can make the right pitch, again, the Jays in a situation to turn that double play.
He looks at ball 2. It's 2-2 now. Steve desperately needs the double play with the bases loaded. Count of 3-2. Weiss at third, Fox at second, Brown over at first base. And the drama continues.
Seeing Dave Steve out there, Chev, by the way, just reminded me, Dave in 1990 had 11 wins at the All-Star break, and that was tied this year by Juan Guzman, who will go to San Diego as an All-Star.
Way up to Olerud. Lansford just stands alongside and watches him catch it for the second out of the inning. Cash donation will be made with the Canadian Diabetes Association on behalf of the Bat Blue player of the game for Oakland and Canon. Canon's UC1, the smallest and lightest 8mm camcorder in the world. Slim design reduces weight strain without compromising quality. Create colorful and unforgettable videos with the Canon UC1. This is Harold Baines. 2 gone, bases loaded. He's 1 for 3 this afternoon. Pops this up. Quinlan and Borders, and somehow they hang on to it. Pat Borders with the ball, and the Blue Jays get out of a big jam.
This is where a third baseman has to take charge. It looks like Quinlan's calling for it, but Borders doesn't hear him.
It all worked out in any event, but it's still 6-0 for the A's. At Blue Jays baseball on ONT. Ron Darling has not been perfect so far. He has issued a couple of walks, but he hasn't given up a hit or a run to the Blue Jays. Pat Borders starts it for Toronto, bottom of the 6th inning, trailing 6-0. And the Blue Jay catcher's right there with the rest of the American League on average. Borders up for Willie Wilson in left center field. 1 gone.
Darling having the type of ball game that's really very typical of the way he pitches, especially most recently. Not overpowering, but spotting pitches. Hitter's a little off balance. He only has the 2 walks. They came early.
He's retired 11 straight. And 15 of the last 16. Manny Lee takes it high, ball 1. Manny, the switch hitter, 263 from the left side of the plate against 205 from the right. Shortstop, well, in terms of average, he's down. But in terms of defense, he is number 1. Alfredo combined on a few occasions his totals, having played just a handful of games for Manny Lee. 2-2.
And a couple of not only good defensive but good offensive shortstops in the league. When you think about Cal Ripken, the numbers that he puts up, Travis Fryman, the young man with Detroit who's played a lot of shortstop because of the injury. Hasn't been that Trammell-Whitaker combination that you see so often with Detroit.
After 15 years, that act is breaking up. Manny Lee strikes out. 2 gone in the inning.
Canadian Tire, in over 420 locations in communities across Canada, is proud to sponsor the closed captioning of this broadcast.
Devon White, leadoff hitter. He walked. He and Derek Bell, the only base runners this afternoon. Hits that pretty hard into the gap, and it's run down by Eric Fox to keep the Ron Darling no-hitter intact. It's the gem of the day for the Oakland A's this afternoon. Darling has no-hit Toronto through 6 with a 6-0 lead at Blue Jays baseball on ONT. Time now for the game review, brought to you by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer.
With 36 different mowers to choose from, there's no lawn too large or too small for a John Deere, even if some are a little hard to get to.
Starter Pat Henkin just couldn't find his control early. Oakland jumped out to a 3-0 lead, then doubled at Dave Steve's expense in the 4th inning with 3 more. Ron Darling has got a no-hitter through 6 and a couple of walks and 4 strikeouts. Oakland ahead 6-0 over the Blue Jays. Mark McGuire scheduled first in the 7th inning for Oakland against a new pitcher. Bob McDonald's come on, the 3rd pitcher of the afternoon for the Blue Jays, getting his first work since the 30th of June. He worked 4 innings that night in that 16-13 game with the Texas Rangers.
Just one time in the last 14 days makes it very difficult for any pitcher, especially a pitcher who relies on a sinking fastball.
Facing the home run king of the American League, Mark McGuire, who sends one way up in left center field. And that is McGuire's 28th of the year. One pitch from McDonald, gone. McGuire hit his 28th home run the year he hit 49 on June the 30th. He's a little bit late, but he's got it now.
Well, there's a perfect example. Pitch up. And talking about McDonald, Bob needs to get his pitches down. And as I mentioned before, when you don't get a lot of work, it's even harder to do.
Now 7-0. Terry Steinbach, the catcher, has a 1-0 count. Now 1-1. Steinbach today 0 for 2 and a walk. Carter coming hard, makes a fine play out in right field. Backpedaling with a big smile.
Well, he's going to San Diego as an all-star, not just because of the offense. Joe Carter able to put some defense on you, too. A good play, good jump. And you hit that turf, you have to really concentrate to keep a hold. And what a flavor of San Diego current and ex-Padres that'll be at the All-Star game this year. We'll give you a little longer look. You could make up your entire ball club of current or former San Diego Padres. Catcher, first base, Sheffield will be at third, Fernandez. Outfield, a Kruk, Carter, and Gwynn, not too bad, and some extra men fill a pretty good slot.
Willie Wilson sends Bell way back to the good running catch into the wall. Now you're seeing some big defensive plays this afternoon.
hardest ball for any outfielder is that one that's directly over your head. But we talked about Derek Bell knowing how to play center field. You saw the one little peek. He's watched Devon White do this all year. Tells himself, well, I could do it too. Nice play by Derek.
Now Mike Bordick. He's been on 3 times, a single, double, and a walk, and has scored twice. Strike 1 to him.
I'll tell you the other footnote to that Padre lineup that you saw, ex-Padre, current Padres. One of the National League coaches also managed the Padres at one time, Roger Craig.
Old home week in San Diego. Huh?
I don't think there's ever been an all-star game that has had that much of a local flavor to it. No pitchers there, though. That's why the Padres haven't had a good ball club since '84 when they went to the World Series.
That is the problem. 2-1. And still rumors about Bruce Hurst with a couple of years on a very expensive contract left in San Diego. He could be available, but I'm sure talks will follow again this week. Drilled up the middle. Base hit for Bordick. It's been on 4 times today.
Well, again, we've been telling you how hot Bordick all of a sudden has become, but a pitch well up in the strike zone. 3rd hit in the game, as you mentioned, Chef. 8th hit in the series. 8 for 14.
So now in the Skydome, he is 12 for 27 lifetime.
So it's a bonus for Bordick, who was struggling around that 300 mark before this series started. 3 hits today. He's well over that now, and now he'll get a chance to just reflect upon that for 3 days.
Vaughn Weiss lays good wood on this. Carter can't catch up to it. Bordick will score all the way from first base. Weiss has hit a triple, and it's 8-0. RBI for Walt Weiss.
Well, the bottom 2 hitters, Bordick and Weiss, are 5 for 5 with 3 walks between them. But all you have to do, and we mentioned it at the beginning of the inning with Bob McDonald pitching, he needs to get his pitches down. Every ball that's been hit this inning and hit hard, all pitches up in the strike zone. If you have a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, you can get away with a pitch that's up. But when you don't, you have to stay down, and he hasn't had a lot of work.
Yeah, he's trying to shed a lot of rust out there right now as the pitch is down and into Eric Fox. There has not been save the 5th inning when McGuire tried to stretch a base on an error. An easy inning for the Blue Jays. Oakland has given them trouble in every frame.
You have to wonder about the status of Bob McDonald. Saw where Ken Daly, who's gone down on a rehab assignment, pitched an inning in 2/3 Thursday night in Syracuse. Didn't give up a run, had 3 walks and a strikeout in the inning. So if Ken Daly continues to perform well down there, he'll be back.
And McDonald will be the guy to trade places with him logically. Eric Fox aboard 4 times today, albeit twice on fielder's choice. Takes low, and it's 3-1.
Everybody in the lineup except the veterans with base hits. Lansford, no hits. Steinbach, Willie Wilson, all hitless today for Oakland.
This is popped up. Manny Lee traveling back of the bag at second will collect it and end the inning. Sees Oakland score 2 more. Ron Darling, remember, has got a no-hit bid underway here, now with an 8-0 lead on Bad Blue Jays baseball on ONT. For the second time in a little less than 3 weeks, Ron Darling takes a no-hitter into the 7th inning. He did it against the Seattle Mariners at Oakland's Alameda County Coliseum on the 22nd of June. Lost it in the 7th inning. Alomar would love to have him lose it right here in the 7th as he fouls it away for 1-1. Alomar, then Joe Carter and John Olerud for the Blue Jays hitting. breaking ball is taken for ball 2, 2-1.
You know, Ron Darling started his professional career as a #1 pick of the Texas Rangers way back in 1981. But a trade that I'm sure the Rangers think about every once in a while. He was only with their organization for a year. Darling and right-hander Walt Terrell went to the New York Mets for switch hitter Lee Mazzilli.
Taken high. It's a full count. And that's his third base runner via the walk route this afternoon.
See, there's where a pitcher thinks a little bit about the no-hitter he has going. 8-0's a score. If he doesn't have the no-hitter, he doesn't try to overthrow a fastball. He just lays it in and takes his chances. But he knows right now he has a no-no working for him. Tries to throw a little extra hard because he knows Robbie's sitting on fastball with the count 3-2 in an 8-0 ball game.
The very first telecast, May 1st of '91 on ONT, produced that Nolan Ryan 7th no-hitter we witnessed in Texas. Fouled off the left side by Joe Carter.
Well, we saw Dave Stewart pitch a no-hitter against the Jays here in the Skydome.
And then later that year, Dave Steve pitched one in Cleveland. Into right field for Jerry Brown. Carter's the first out of the 7th inning. It's right about now, newsrooms and newspapers, radio and television stations across the country seeing a little note come across the wire saying, "Note, Ron Darling has a no-hitter in Toronto into the 7th inning this afternoon." They'll keep an advisory going until either he gets it or changes it.
Yeah, they start sending those notes about the 5th inning, but you don't really start getting serious about reading them or giving them across the airwaves until the 7th and 8th.
John Olerud, twice his flat out to left field. Darling has had a lot of fly ball outs today. This will be on the ground and a double play. He has gone through 7 innings of no-hit ball. Stay with us from the Skydome in Toronto. Darling is the story on a bleak day for the Blue Jays. On the bat, Blue Jays baseball on ONT. Well, this has been a somewhat unusual day from a number of standpoints. Blue Jays headed for their 3rd straight loss. As you look at the shot above the now closed Skydome from the Goodyear blimp. Ron Darling has certainly got it going this afternoon. A no-hitter through 7 innings. And the Blue Jays bats just can't get going. You don't see Tom Henke come in this early in a ball game. That's another unusual aspect. But Tom Henke is here to pitch the 8th inning to Jerry Brown, Carney Lansford, and Harold Baines.
And to get some work. Cito realizing the All-Star break coming up. Tom said he's going to spend it with his family here in the area, going to different sites around the Toronto area. But you look after the break, Jack Morris will be pitching on Thursday, Jimmy Key on Friday, Guzman Saturday, David Wells Sunday, all against Seattle up in the Kingdome.
So really at this stage of a 8-0 deficit, Cito and company looking to get some people some work before the All-Star break. McDonald, Steve before him, and now Henke. Minnesota has an 8-4 lead over Baltimore now in the 7th inning. Jerry Brown has had a very good day. 3 hits and a sac fly. 2 runs batted in. Olerud unassisted makes Brown out number 1.
Well, that's the first out recorded between Brown, Bordick, and Weiss this afternoon. They had been 8 for 8, that trio, going into that at bat. Troy Neal, pinch hitter, will step in and give Carney Lansford, the veteran, a little rest.
Neal started the first game of the series on Thursday. Takes it inside 1-0. Neal replace Canseco on the A's roster. Jose went on the DL July 1st. He's got a homer, a couple of runs battled in 8 games.
Troy Neal probably a little more power than Eric Fox, but Fox better of the two defensively. Neal's had a couple of 20-plus home run seasons in the minor leagues.
Sends that foul and out of play. 2 balls and 1 strike. Darling already has gone through potentially most dangerous part of the Blue Jay order in the last inning in Alomar, Carter, and Olerud. So his prospects look bright heading into the 8th inning potentially. 2-2 here to Troy Neal.
Neal hasn't seen that kind of forkball the last couple of years in Huntsville or Canton, Akron. Came over from the Cleveland organization.
3-2. I guess the only place in those towns you see that kind of a pitch is on videotape, maybe back in the hotel. Major League highlights.
Baseball's best.
Foul back, holding a full count is Troy Neal.
You know, in the minor leagues, you may see a lot of pitchers try that pitch, but once they perfect it, they're not around the minor leagues very long.
He walked him. Neal gets a pass with 1 out. Harold Baines up next.
Yeah, you figure if Tom Henke didn't pitch today, then he would have 4 days between not appearing in a ball game with the Sunday and then the 3 days of the All-Star break. So Cito just wants to get the big guy some work, so he's fresh. The team starts up again on Thursday in Seattle.
Tom actually was the winner in the opening game in the series on Thursday. His 3rd win of the year. And strike 1 to Harold Baines. Baines 1 for 4 today. Take it inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Did you see the other day in the paper where the former Seattle owner Jeff Smulyan has a little interest in the San Francisco Giants, and then the thought of maybe moving them to St. Petersburg? What would that do to the realignment?
Yeah, they just realign and then they'd have to do it all over again. That's right. Here's the flip. Henke from Olerud takes care of Baines with Neal over to second on the play.
All of a sudden, a Western Division ball club in the National League, if that in fact happened, and it's only a rumor, would head east, and that would mess everything up for the National League.
Enough problems already, don't they? Mark McGwire hit his 28th home run. The first pitch from Bob McDonald to begin the 7th inning. He doubled back in the 1st inning. Henke has him at 0-1.
Mark McGwire's talked a lot about how he's been able to refocus himself after his off year last year. He said a lot of it had to do when he went home after the season was watching the World Series on TV. He said to himself, I want to be back in that thing. He's had a chance a couple of times, and all of a sudden it just clicked. He's playing this game for a lot of reasons, and he was able to get his concentration back on top.
It's a long way back from a 201 average for 1991 for Mike McGwire. It's a hard shot. Quinlan up with it. On to Olerud for the final out of the inning. That's some good defense by Quinlan there, helping Tom Henke out as they strand Troy Neal. Ron Darling's the story here, getting ready to go back to the 8th inning with a no-hitter intact on the Bat Blue Jays baseball on ONT.
Now, an Ontario Network Television Coca-Cola Sports Break. Here's Sunil Joshi.
Good afternoon. The final day before the All-Star break. The Jays would like to keep that 4-game spread over the Orioles. They need some help from the Minnesota Twins, and they're getting it because the Twins lead by 4, playing in the 7th at Camden Yards. Now the Braves and Cubs at Wrigley. It looks like everyone is thinking ahead of the break. Cubs butcher a fly ball in the pouring rain while they play Alphonse and Gaston. Deion Sanders, who hit the fly ball, will motor all the way around the bases. And the Cubs trail by 1 in the 2nd. Meanwhile, Cincinnati in front of Pittsburgh by 3 in the 4th. Canada's National Closed Tennis Championships wrapped today with the men's final. Defending champion Grant Connell facing the number 4 seed. Andrew Schneider had it all in gear this afternoon, beating Connell 6-2, 7-6 to win his 5th title of his career. The Players International is next for these guys. Nigel Mansell wins the British Grand Prix. We'll go back to baseball after this.
Candy Maldonado takes the first offering of the 8th inning from Ron Darling, high for ball 1. No hit bid to the 8th inning it is for Mr. Darling. Blue Jays have had 3 base runners, all via walks. And is up and will be out of play foul for a 1-1 count to Candy Maldonado.
You look back at the 7 innings so far, and a couple of important plays for Ron Darling. A nice play by Eric Fox in left field to chase down a fly ball to Devon White. And then that fine double play turned by Bordick at second base on the ball hit by John Olerud last inning.
That takes care of the no-hit bid for Darling. Up the middle, a shot by Candy Maldonado.
Ron Darling got a pitch up. Right out over the plate. No doubt by Candy Maldonado's swing.
So Darling attempting to join ex-Yankee Allie Reynolds as the only other major leaguer to pitch a no-hitter on this date, July 12th. Fails. Popped up. Brown is at third base. Steinbach, the catcher, gives way to Brown in the Blue Jay dugout to record the out of Derek Bell. Here is Tom Quinlan now called up. Blue Jays without either Gruber or Rance Mullenix at this stage. He's in for Kent.
Every time the Blue Jays need a left-handed pinch hitter, they look for Mullenix. You're not there. When are you going to get back?
Well, it's really difficult for me to say, Fergie, because the back is the same today as it was a month ago. It really hasn't improved. It's just to the point where I could pinch hit, but you know, there's not a roster spot available, and I understand that, but hopefully it will get to the point where I could play some third base a little day in, day out if they needed me to, and can get back in there and help the ball club.
Well, I'll tell you, Blue Jays have had more than their share of back problems. Cito last year, of course. Mullenix this year with back problems.
Dave Steve.
Tom Cheek, the radio broadcaster, has had ongoing back problems the last 2 weeks.
How's yours?
Fine so far, touch wood.
Me too.
1-0. Quinlan, just a .219 hitter. He was called up July the 8th from the Blue Jays farm team in Syracuse. There are his numbers at AAA. 1-1. Quinlan made a career choice of baseball over hockey. He's a fair country hockey player. Native of Minnesota. Ball fools him. It's 1-2.
A couple of Minnesota natives back at that home plate area. Terry Steinbach. But Quinlan looked big on skates. He looks big without them.
Yes. Two and two.
The thing that Darling has to try to do for himself to concentrate here. He has one shutout this year. So after you lose that no-hitter, a pitcher then thinks, go for the shutout. You still have it going.
A little number there is taken care of by Darling all by himself, intercepting Quinlan down the baseline with Maldonado over to second base. If there's any consolation for Darling, it is that the hit that broke it up was not a cheap one. I mean, it was a solid shot to center by Maldonado.
Yeah, Candy got that fastball that Darling put right out over the plate. And so there will be no second thoughts. He may be thinking of the pitch, of the selection, but I think in that situation he had to go with his fastball. He just didn't get it where he wanted.
Here's Pat Borders. Like so many Blue Jays this afternoon, 0 for 2. One and 0.
Talk about pitchers with tough luck. So where Jim Abbott, who's had horrendous luck this year, had to leave a ball game yesterday. The Angels only worked into the 4th inning with a rib cage injury.
Minnesota leads Baltimore, 8th inning. 8-0 Oakland over the Blue Jays here in the inning. The status appears to be quo in the All-Star break. A 4-game Toronto lead looming. Just the way it was when the day began. But it's taken for strike 1. Let's have a second look at it. Yep.
We get that second look. Al Clark doesn't.
He doesn't get it back-to-back. 3-1.
By the way, I was talking with Greg Kosk, who's at second base in this umpiring crew. He'll be going to San Diego as part of the American League staff. The All-Star game. It's always a good thrill for the umpires as well.
Willie Wilson has it, and that takes care of the Blue Jays in the 8th inning. But the no-hitter has been broken up. A leadoff single by Candy Maldonado off Ron Darling. Still 8-0 Oakland on the Mad Blue Jays baseball on ONT.
Love that. Blue Jays baseball on OMT. Brought to you by your local bottler of Coca-Cola. Can't beat the real thing. By CIBC, the bank of the Blue Jays. And by Labatt Blue. Honest and true, you bet, it's blue.
Well, here in Toronto with the dome closed now and drizzle outside the stadium this afternoon, the Toronto Blue Jays are in a drought. Just 1 hit off Ron Darling, and as they go to the 9th inning, they trail the Oakland A's 8-0, and Dwayne Ward will get the final inning of work for Toronto this afternoon. He appeared in the first game of the series on Thursday, worked an inning, gave up 1 hit.
And Dwayne again in the same situation that Tom Henke. Cito bringing these two pitchers in because he knows how vital they are to the second half of the season, and he wants them ready by the time Thursday comes around in Seattle. So giving Tom an inning and Dwayne Ward an inning right here.
Yes, the Jays begin the second half on Thursday. First of a 4-game stand in Seattle, the Kingdome. Then 3 games in Anaheim against the Angels, and 4 with Oakland to complete a road trip to begin the second half. They'll be home again on the 28th against Kansas City. That is the story this afternoon. Oakland with 12 hits off a succession of Blue Jay pitchers. Down to Ward, here to Steinbach in this 9th inning. Dwayne Ward has had a little trouble lately retiring first hitters. Since the 1st of June, he's been able to get just 44% of the first batter he has faced.
And that first hitter retirement is very important to the men coming out of the bullpen. Want to set the tone. Tashev, another pitcher that is going to be very important in the second half of the season because they will have him the entire second half healthy, is Mike Timlin. And Timlin's been extremely sharp. Recently, Timlin in his last 4 outings, 11 strikeouts in 7 1/3 innings pitched. And to get him back the second half all healthy, it's going to be a key too.
1-2 to Terry Steinbach. Steinbach along with the next hitter, Willie Wilson. The couple of A's who haven't had a hit today. They banged out a dozen as a team. Bottom of the 2-2. Steinbach is gone. That'll improve the first hitter retired efficiency ratio of Mr. Ward.
That helps that percentage a little bit. Little movement at a lot of the plate.
Next up, Willie Wilson. He's 0 for 4. Although certainly robbed by Derek Bell with a sparkling catch in the 7th inning in center field. Foul ball left side. Willie Wilson turned 37 just 3 days ago. Celebrated his birthday in Toronto.
And he'll enjoy a well-deserved 3 days off for the All-Star break. The Athletics open up the second half at home, but a lot of playing time for Willie Wilson. With a healthy Oakland outfield of Ricky Henderson, Dave Henderson, and Jose Canseco, Willie certainly wouldn't have had as many opportunities as he's had this year. He's been in 77 ball games.
He was supposed to come on as a backup player for them, but he has seen regular action, and he's had a regular diet of hard luck today. Strikes out here to become the second out of the 9th inning.
That's that hard slider by Dwayne Ward. You know, there are a lot of hitters in the American League that think Dwayne Ward throws a split finger pitch, but that's just a good, hard, tight slider.
Mike Bordick now. Been on 4 times. 2 singles, a double, a walk, scored a couple of runs. Upstairs, 2-0.
We told you Bordick started at 299 after that first at bat in this series. He's up to 312 now.
Takes it inside, 3-0. That is strike 1. Montreal got cooled out a bit yesterday, 3-0 by the Giants in San Francisco. They will play there later. Will start the day 4 games back. Ward battles back to a full count with his hitter Bordick.
Tell you the way that National League East is going, Pittsburgh has not played well over the last month or so. Montreal Expos right in the hunt, second place.
Manny Lee backhands it. Long throw to Olerud, safe. Not quite there in time on the bounce. Lee was heading to the dugout. He thought he had the final out.
I think safe because I believe John Olerud in stretching for the ball. Now I don't know if he had to come off the bag, but I believe that left foot came off the sack.
Not really, did it?
It's close.
Not sure about this.
See the foot off the bag. That's a little cheat. Sometimes you get away with it, sometimes you don't. That time John Olerud caught.
Yeah, Larry Barnett makes the call that keeps the inning alive.
Can't fool that Larry Barnett.
He's in no rush to end the first half of the season. Veteran umpire down at first base.
The beneficiary of Mike Bordick, his 4th base hit, infield single.
Foul away to the left side, 1-1. Still 8-4 Minnesota over Baltimore. Talked about the Jays remaining 4 games up on the Orioles at the All-Star break. It'll probably mean that Minnesota will hold their 2-game lead over Oakland unless things change in the West. Texas making a little run now to Toby Hara, won 3 in a row. 5.5 games back since Bobby Valentine was let go.
I was talking about Pittsburgh. A lot of people questioning that trade the Pirates made. They traded Steve Buechele, a solid third baseman, has been producing with some RBIs, to acquire a left-hander that's well-traveled and had problems, Danny Jackson.
Joe Carter giving chase. Bell was closer, and he'll make the play. Well, they just signed Buechele to a 4-year contract before the season, and he's off to the Cubs. Well, Ron Darling wants to come out and finish this ball game, which he leads 8-0 on the Bat Blue Jays baseball on ONT. Well, no hitter was not in the cards for Ron Darling this afternoon. Candy Maldonado took care of that as the first hitter to face him in the 8th inning. He would now love to get a complete game shutout if he can, and he works to Manny Lee with that goal in mind here with strike one. White and Alomar to follow in the 9th. Jays down 8-0. 0-2.
One of the areas Manny Lee's improved on the first half of the season over last year, he's cut down the strikeouts. However, he has gone down twice today. But anytime Manny can put the ball in play and eliminate the strikeout, he's going to be a better hitter.
He puts it in play for the second hit of the afternoon. Had a notion to go to second, wisely retreats to first. Manny Lee 1 for 3. Capping a great first half, both with a bat, certainly with a glove.
Now Ron Darling has to just say, let's keep that shutout intact. His best complete game has been a 2-hitter. So he won't be able to do any better than that.
It's ball one to Devon White. Makes a nice pitch there to even the count.
You know, a name we heard a lot last year, a young pitcher with Oakland, Todd Van Poppel, young right-hander. He's gone for the year. He was pitching in Tacoma for Bob Boone, former major leaguer managing there. But arm problems have put him on the shelf.
#1 draft choice, big signing bonus. Check swing. Weiss is there with it. One away. Up next is Roberto Alomar. 0 for 2, and he had one of the 3 walks Darling issued this afternoon. Strike one.
I like one of the things Robbie was saying the other day about going back to San Diego for the All-Star game. Not to show the Padres that they made a bum deal, just to go back and have a good time, be with his family, and enjoy the game.
Nobody has any complaints, I guess, then or since. Certainly now about that trade. All 4 in the All-Star game. One and 2 to Alomar.
And certainly congrats to ex-J Freddie McGriff for making the team. He's been such a productive hitter, 30 or more home runs last 4 years, and this is the first time he's been an All-Star.
Tony Fernandez was also selected to the team. Yeah, rare chance to see the Fab Four in head-on competition on Tuesday night at San Diego. Alomar reaches for to stay alive at 2-2. The 0 for 2 this afternoon has taken 3 ticks off his batting average, down to 324 now.
That's kind of interesting. The Fab Four, they have in San Diego the 4 tops. They've been calling Fernandez, Gwynn, McGriff, and Sheffield. You add the Fab Four to that. Pretty good rock group.
Set up your own disco. Alomar sends Wilson tracking toward left field. A couple of them are there with Fox, the left fielder, right there with Willie Wilson for him.
The only problem with the Fab Four, though, I saw where Paul McCartney turned 50. All of a sudden, I felt a little older.
I'm sure he does today.
Center fielder's job always to call anybody else off, but both are calling at the same time. Willie Wilson wants this ball. but Eric Fox yelling at the same time, sometimes you can't hear the other outfielder.
So it's up to Joe Carter. Little roller foul on the right side. Ron Darling looking for his second complete game shutout of the season. Looking to go 8-7. Darling perhaps couldn't be sure he'd come up as strong as he did today, having lost 3 in a row in 4 of his last 5. He's pitched magnificently. Offers a strike, which makes it 0-2 to Carter. So Darling will take the All-Star break on a very high note. Blue Jays fail in their mission to go out on a winning note as Carter fouls this.
Sometimes it's good news. I guess if you can look at a 3-game losing streak as good news, but the fact that the All-Star break is coming up, kind of put the brakes on a little bit, take 3 days off, and then resume play and forget about the 3 losses in a row.
Carter to Wilson, and the game is over. Complete game, 2-hit shutout for this man. Ron Darling lost a no-hit bid to Maldonado in the 8th. Another single to Manny Lee here in the 9th inning, and that is all he allowed. The Blue Jay bats have really been silenced by the Oakland A's.
They sure have, especially the last 3 games of this series. You look back to Friday night, 5 hits in the game, 2 hits in the ball game yesterday for the Jays, and then just 2 this afternoon.
That's 9 hits in 3 games. That's all they've gotten off Oakland.
And as I mentioned, they face some similar type pitching, veteran pitchers, Bob Welch and then Mike Moore and Ron Darling, guys who certainly know what to do when they have command of their pitches. They're not overpowering, but with good command when they're in the strike zone, and all 3 of those veterans displayed that the last 3 games.
It's any consolation for the Blue Jays. Minnesota has increased their lead over Baltimore to 9-4 in the 8th inning now at Camden Yards in their final game before the All-Star break. A big smile indeed for Tony La Russa. His team has just come in here hobbled by injuries. They've had about 17 different transactions in the last month on and off the disabled list. They take 3 of 4 from a Blue Jay team that had racked up 8 straight.
And the loss today goes to Pat Henkin. His first loss of the season. Struggled early. Just got into the 2nd inning before Dave Steve came on, and Dave was able to get some work. 5+ innings for him, and so did Tom Henke and Dwayne Ward. So a few things Cito Gaston was able to do, getting his big men at the end, Ward and Henke, a chance to work a couple of innings.
Okay, let's check in with Fergie Oliver.
Well, thank you, Chevy. Candy Maldonado was the man that broke up Ron Darling's no-hit bid, and well, I'll tell you, it was a pretty good pitch that you hit.
Well, definitely I was looking for a pitch that I can, go up the middle. He was breaking, he was coming up with some pitches, a little over the waist. And all night, I was a little close at first to a bat. I had to stand up a little more. There it is, and I was saying to myself, he's not going to get something that maybe it would be a home run or so. So, just see the ball and try to go with a pitch.
And he knew it as soon as you hit it, that it was a base hit.
Well, I know he could see his expression, but he pitched a hell of a game. He kept us off balance. A lot of fly balls. There was a lot of balls that we had hard, but right at people.
What was so difficult? He was only throwing about 89 miles an hour, but the fact that he was throwing off speed and what?
Well, he was spotting the ball very good. Like I say, he was throwing the ball, a little bit over the waist. A lot of times it creates a lot of fly balls, and definitely, we must have had about 18 to 20 fly balls today.
You did. Candy, you've come up with some big base hits for this ball club in the last month and a half, and really you're starting to feel comfortable at the plate.
Well, thank God. It was a struggle at the beginning. Early in the season, it was like a nightmare, and thank God, Cito kept hanging with me and giving me the opportunity, and now I just feel glad that, I can contribute and basically, concentrating a little more on the things you want to do.
I thought maybe the ball club the last 2 or 3 days, maybe it's the fact that Oakland played so well, but I thought the Blue Jays were down a bit. Is everybody looking ahead to the All-Star break?
Well, I think, it's good to have a little break. We've been playing this first half. It's been kind of tight. Baltimore's playing great baseball, and it seems like every night, there were one game where we were tied, and it takes a lot mentally, but I think, this 3 days is going to help with the ball club.
All right, you have a good break. I know you're staying in Toronto, right?
Yeah, I'll be staying in Toronto.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go up top, and here's Don Chevrier.
Well, a downbeat certainly for the Blue Jays, but there are teams in Major League Baseball who would kill to have 53 wins at the All-Star break. There'll be no remorse, I'm sure, for Blue Jay fans. A fine first half of the season.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, you get a little downtime. The last 3 games, we mentioned the the infrequency of base hits. And when you lose 3 in a row without getting the offense going, it's good to have a little rest. You can't plan on that all the time. Sometimes you don't get that planned day off or those times to recuperate a little bit. So it's nice with the All-Star break coming up, the fact that the Jays are struggling right now. They have time to think about it and get the offense going when they start things up in Seattle.
And so far getting a boost from Minnesota, still beating Baltimore by 5 runs the last time we checked at Camden Yards. Well, the Labatt Blue players of the game today, a little different. Ron Darling, of course. And how about Cito Gaston for the Blue Jays? Fine job of managing in the first half of the season. A cash donation made on their behalf by Sanyu and Cannon to the Canadian Diabetes Association. Also an amateur baseball team will be their guests at a future game. So it's off to San Diego. You'll be there. Looking forward, I'm sure, to it all.
I look forward to it, getting a chance to participate in some All-Star festivities. Look forward to seeing the Jays shine.
So the Blue Jays certainly on top of the Eastern world at the halfway mark. Watching Labatt Blue Jays baseball on ONT.
This has been a Baton Broadcasting sports presentation produced by authority of the Toronto Blue Jays. The final score, the A's win it and win 3 out of 4 in this series, 8-0. Ron Darling the winner, Pat Henkin the loser, and our next telecast on ONT will be August the 12th. And we will be playing right here at the Skydome against the Baltimore Orioles. Check your local listings. So long, everybody, and thanks for watching.
Catch the best of the best Tuesday night at 8, when CFTO TV viewers will witness the clash of the American League and National League heroes. Live from San Diego, it's the All-Star Game. Tuesday night at 8.